Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a reading for Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or if you have any other significant Taurus placements, there may be a message in here for you. So Taurus, to get started, I'm getting a few messages for you. There was a Taurus reading that I did maybe like a month or two ago, so I'll link it above. The message of that reading, or the title of it that I remember, is that you're on the threshold of some sort of major transformation. So that reading might have a message in there for you, but I feel like in some ways it's a bit of a continuation of that story, or like there's been progression in that sense. So I feel like there's something here for you. What I'm getting is that there's someone in your life who I'm seeing as like someone that you care about. It's coming through as a very protective energy. So it could be that they're a child, or it's someone younger than you, or someone with less experience. If it's not so it could, in whatever form this is for you, right? It could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be like a coworker who has less experience, but you're very fond of them, or whatever it is. It kind of feels like, Taurus, that you are seeing this person go through a bit of a Three of Swords energy, which is like some sort of heartbreak, some sort of pain, some sort of like tough energy that they're working through, and wanting to sort of like shield them from that, or protect them from that, or like what the word or the phrase that was coming through specifically was like to soften the blow. I don't think you are the one who's like harming this person or anything like that. It just feels like this person is dealing with something, and you, because you care about them, because you're close to them, because you feel protective of them, want to sort of shield them or soften the blow of whatever pain it is that they're going through. And the message that's coming through for this, which is interesting, is that I feel like you and this person are actually moving through some sort of transformation. It is kind of coming through with the Death card. Not to scare anyone or anything like that. It's not a physical death. I'm not predicting that anyone's going to die or anything like that. It's more so coming through as an energy of you're moving through a transformative process that you can't turn back from. It's just how it's coming through. It's going to be significant change that feels quite permanent, or like you can't really go back to whatever it is that you're leaving behind. I do feel like you are moving through this transformation with this person, is actually how it's coming through. But that in some ways, what I'm seeing is that you are entering the same door. You and this person are both going through the same door, but what happens on the other side of the door is much different for each of you, is how this is coming through. And it's kind of like the metaphor that was coming through, and especially because this story came through in the reading that I linked above earlier, of in the Lord of the Rings, the first movie or book, where Gandalf leads them through the mines of Moria, leads the fellowship through the mines of Moria. And of course, in the mines, that's where they become separated, where Gandalf goes on this journey of becoming the White Wizard, and Frodo and friends go through the journey of continuing on to carry the ring. There's that kind of energy coming through for you. And I'm seeing you as Gandalf again, Taurus. It is feeling kind of parental, but it doesn't have to be. If it's not directly like a parental energy, it's kind of coming through as being maybe you have more responsibility within this group, maybe you have more experience, maybe you just have different roles in whatever way this plays out for you, and that your role is Gandalf, like, so perhaps in a leadership position, but it doesn't have to be that necessarily. It's also kind of coming through like, so I don't know, I don't quite feel that there's a separate, like you could be side by side with this person in the physical. That's sort of how it feels like, where it's like you may even be still connected to this person physically, like you're still in the same, if it just is easiest to describe in a work context, but it doesn't have to be that. Like maybe you're still going to be working together, you're still sharing the same space. If it's a family, like you're still living with them, but it's like there's some sort of like spiritual distance that's happening, where it's like kind of like you're going on different paths spiritually or emotionally or whatever it is. And that there's a part of you that wants to shield and protect them from whatever this is, because I feel like you're anticipating that it's going to be difficult for them. But the message that's coming through is that it's whatever is happening with them is part of their life karma, where it's like there are important lessons for them to learn through this. So even if you might want to shield them, it may not be possible for you to do that. Like it's kind of like you have to both go on your separate spiritual journeys in whatever way this is. I'm not saying that you can't help them and all of that, but there is a point where part of what they're going through has to be their lesson, if that makes sense. I do think you will be able to help them with some stuff, but it might not be as much as you hope. That's just the message that's coming through. Okay. So another message for this is I feel like this person is in your soft spot. That's how it was trying to come through. Like specifically, I feel like that's kind of awkward phrasing, but that's how it came through. They're in your soft spot. And it's showing you where you might need to firm up your boundaries. That's just what's coming through. And it's also, like, I'm also getting, like, a lot of Three of Swords energy around you. Like, I feel like it's not just this one person, but there may be a lot of instances of, like, pain or hardship that's around you. But I feel like there's one person in particular who's in your soft spot, right? Like, that's how it's feeling. Very interesting. Okay. Okay, Taurus, could I get a card for Taurus, please? Why is this important is how it's going through. I feel like there is something here, Taurus, where you're on a particular path. What the worms know. Interesting. That's a very interesting card. I'm getting a sustainer energy with this now. Cultivate humility with dignity. Tend to your physical body, but be unattached to it. The lowest is in some ways the mightiest. While worms may seem like lowly creatures to some, in fact, they are part of the foundation of the land-based food chain, fertilizing and aerating the soil in which plants grow. Plants, in turn, feed the animals lowest on the food chain, and so on. Although the top of any pyramid gets the gleam and attention, the power is in its foundation, and because of gravity, entropy, and the cycles of life and death, all things ultimately return to the soil and to the worms. This is what the worms know. They will always be fed, for all living things eventually fall back down to their realm. In most modern Western cultures, we are taught to put off aging and to avoid even thinking about or mentioning death. While it is natural and healthy to want to live, death is an intrinsic part of life. In fact, Because death is an unavoidable consequence of living, denying, or avoiding its inevitability, is actually harmful to our well-being because it incorrectly skews our perception of life. Modern research has shown that cultivating an awareness of death helps people to embrace and enjoy life more, and to make wiser choices while living, which contributes to our sense of personal dignity. Awareness of death also helps us to cultivate humility because death is the great equalizer that overtakes us all at some point. Interesting. Because there is an emphasis on death in this, in your reading today, Taurus. We are in Scorpio season at the moment. So that feels like there's a significant energy there. Again, it feels like some sort of transition, like you're moving through something. As I was reading that description, I was getting a couple of energies about... there's this show called The Good Place. It's on Netflix if you want to watch it. I am going to spoil the ending, though. But it's sort of like the afterlife. There's the good place and the bad place. And the main characters in the last season finally make it to the good place, but they realize that the good place had become broken because there was no exit to it. So it's kind of like, even though it was the good place where you could have everything you could ever want, you basically you could have anything that you could ever want, but the people who were in the good place were going crazy because they couldn't escape it, right? So in a sense, it felt like a prison, even though it was a prison that had everything you could ever want. And so the way that they fixed the good place was to put an exit door to be like, you can leave here if you want to, which is so interesting. And that fixed it because it allowed people to actually enjoy where they were, knowing that once they were finished there, they could leave, they could move on, they could go somewhere else. So I'm kind of getting that energy for you, Taurus, that there's some sort of ending happening where, but I'm seeing you as being this sort of like in this place of humility and dignity in this transition where it's kind of like, you know, that there is like all of these endings will be recycled back in, right? Like that all of the energy will be recycled, that it'll go to use, that when the plants die, it feeds the worms, right? Like that's kind of the energy that's coming through for you. Either that's guidance for you or that's the awareness and understanding that you are in at the moment. And what else I was getting as I was reading this description was like, I was seeing Icarus. As if you're not familiar with the story, it's like a Greek mythology where Icarus and his father, like I'm seeing you as the father energy. There's a lot of masculine energy that's coming through your reading. Icarus is as the son. The father is, I don't know how to say his name, Daedalus. I don't know if that's right. Anyways, he's an inventor. They get stuck in a maze. There is this feeling of being stuck somewhere, but that you're exiting that energy. That's how it's coming through. But anyways, so he invents these wings that are held together by wax in order to escape the maze, right? And he tells his son, like, this is how you're going to escape, but don't fly too close to the sun. And because the wax on the wings will melt, and of course the son did not listen. He flew too close to the sun and he fell and died. There is something like that kind of energy. And again, not literal, right? It feels like a metaphor or symbolic or explaining some sort of spiritual energy that's coming through where like somebody that you care about is going through this process of like maybe flying too close to the sun, or you see them sort of going down this path that you know is not this, right? With the worms. It's not... I don't know, maybe it's concern. Maybe it's concern that they're flying too close to the sun or something like that. But for you, I think that the way that, like, and it could even be like different coping mechanisms, like in the face of difficulty, there's somebody who you can see is going through this process of like they're not coping well with a certain energy, or they're using the wrong tools or something like that, or they're engaging in behaviors that you know are not going to be healthy or beneficial for them. But it's also at the same time being like, this is a journey that they have to go through. This is a lesson that they have to learn. And for you, it's kind of like, I'm seeing the message for you is that you're grounding something. You're going perhaps within, but it also feels like, below. I don't know how it's kind of coming through a bit with the underworld energy, which is interesting for you, Taurus. So it could be about facing your fears, but more so what I'm getting with that is this like death and rebirth process where there's something that is coming to an end. Like a plant is dying is just how I'm going to phrase it. Something that you've maybe grown or put a lot of energy into, or a certain cycle maybe, is going through a death process, whatever that is for you. And you know that that dying process is going to feed the worms. You know this. That's how it's coming through. That's your energy. You know that this death process is going to feed a new cycle, right? But the others in this environment, or in this, like, who are in connection with you, may not know that. Is just how it's feeling. So there's this almost like you're feeling pain on behalf of somebody that you care about, is how it's coming through. Okay. Yeah, interesting. The box, the cave, and the mystic. That's all of your energy. Okay, so there's this energy here at the box, especially because I was getting that multiple messages of being stuck somewhere, right? Like feeling like you're stuck somewhere in a place where there's no exit, right? Like a maze, or like this prison. So the box card talks about like expectations, like rules, sort of like rigid structures that keep us from expanding, like that kind of thing. And I feel like for like, so this might be like a collective feeling or energy, or like collective could be like a small collective, right? Like within your family, or within your workplace, or within a friend group, or whatever. However this resonates for you, there might be this sort of feeling of like a lot of structure, a lot of rules that are keeping you trapped somewhere, in a state of being. And I feel like your energy here is coming through as the cave, is almost like going within. You're not trying to escape, is actually how it's coming through, Taurus. Like, because again, with that, like I keep seeing this image of Gandalf where he's fighting the Balrog, this like monster inside the mines, and he's like sort of like looking to the Fellowship and saying like fly you fools, is the line, right? Like he's telling them to go, but for him it's like he knows he has to stay and fight this monster, right? Like I don't know if there's something like that though for you. Again, all symbolic. It feels though like there's something where it's like maybe you're letting or you're encouraged, I don't know, like again with that energy of Icarus and his father, he allowed his son to go out first or something like that. I don't know, it feels, especially with the mystic here though, it feels like you're doing a significant amount of like transmuting an energy, maybe on behalf of somebody else. Like it's kind of like you're taking on some sort of responsibility that feels like it's for the benefit of many, as part, like, and this is part of your mystic gifts, is how it's coming through. But I keep seeing like I don't know, like something where it's like, let's say there is this feeling of like wanting to escape somewhere, right? Like that's how it's coming through, where there's this feeling of like you in a group trying to get through some sort of maze, but it's almost like you're choosing to stay behind. That's the energy that I'm getting for you, Taurus. As the others sort of flee, is how that's coming through. And it's almost like you're digging deeper, or you're trying to find a different way out, is how that's feeling. Like how I'm seeing it is like, you know, in those like movies about prison breaks and all that, like this group is going through, like, I don't know, through the actual prison to escape, but you are like tunneling underneath, right? Like that's the metaphor that's coming through, like this energy of going lower, or almost like digging yourself deeper into something, that in order to escape. I don't know, that's just how it's coming through. I have no idea how that's gonna like translate on a real world practical example, but like I am seeing that you are going to be successful with this, whatever it is, because you are transforming something. It could also be kind of like a hanged man energy, where like you're getting a different perspective, or you're doing something like very different from how others would expect you to do it, right? Like that, like it is kind of coming through with like creative problem solving, but like the example of the good place, where it's like, in order to fix the good place, right? This place that everybody wants to be, everyone wants to end up in the good place. And the solution to fixing that is to create an exit door, right? Like it's counterintuitive, maybe. Like maybe there's something about what you're doing that feels counterintuitive, where it's like the goal is to escape and your solution is to actually settle in where you are. It's like to dig deeper into where you are. That somehow fixes the problem, or eliminates this feeling of stuckness, which is really interesting. By like doing the opposite of what outcome it is that you desire. I don't know. Take with a grain of salt, Taurus. I don't know how this is going to translate in a real life example for you. Hopefully it's making sense though. I'm going to pull one card from the animal deck for you. Well, you already have the worm out. Eagle, yeah. Eagle. You are finding the solution to something. This is mastery over air and fire. It also talks about significant transformation. To me, the eagle is about like triumphing over some sort of difficulty, getting the solution to something. It's like, here's the answer. All-pervading power, true seeker, and transforms karma. When the eagle appears, you'll soon be thrown into the karmic fire for the sake of your transformation. The eagle pushes us to be our best and brightest selves and stops at nothing to see us shine. Grasp the sun in your talons and hold on for the ride. You are stronger than you think, Eagle Child. A very interesting energy. This is for the energy of the other. Excuse me. The chasm shrinks as you step across. It's time for a paradigm shift. Whatever it is you've been thinking of leaving, it's time to move on. Whatever it is you've been thinking of moving towards, it's time to take steps in that direction. Maybe you're on the brink of taking a leap of faith, or maybe you're on the brink of taking many little steps, and the leap of faith is more a matter of what needs to happen in your mind. This leads us to the first point of this archetype. Believe you can move on. Believe you can inhabit this other world. Have confidence in your vision for a different life. Change is inevitable, and when we feel its rumblings within or around us, the best response is to flow with it. However, you're human, and being human, you have this pesky thing you live with called fear. You can hide it somewhere and pretend it's not there, but you can't make it go away, and in fact, you need it. Fear serves important purposes like keeping you from doing unnecessarily risky things and alerting you to be mindful and careful when things are unsafe, uncertain, or unknown. In fact, it's only when you deny your fear that it can control you and keep you from doing things you know in your heart are right for you to do. It's wise to acknowledge any feelings of fear you may have. Stepping into new, unknown territory is a scary thing to do. If you accept and witness your fear, you'll be able to move forward with more compassion towards yourself, which will help smooth out the inevitable bumps and bruises that occur when we traverse unfamiliar territory. That compassion will also cultivate a more open, receptive, flowing, and creative mind and body that will get you through this new territory more gracefully than if you charge ahead, stiff with unacknowledged fear. Yeah. I feel like you are... this feels like another person's energy. Again, it doesn't feel like yours, but it feels kind of like... Sorry, there's like... some boobies there, but like there's this energy here of somebody who is... I do feel like this is somebody who's moving through a transition. Like they're taking that leap of faith or they're stepping through something, but it is feeling kind of like fear that they're dealing with. It might not necessarily be a Three of Swords, but it might be fear of that. Like fear of being hurt by something that's preventing them from moving forward in some way. I feel like you are coming through as being like a very stable presence in this person's life, like very grounded. Perhaps they look to you for guidance. You're like the Gandalf of the family is what I just heard. Like, people feel safe around you is how it's feeling. And it's kind of like this person's moving through a transition, but they may be feeling fear about this new step. Interesting. At the bottom of the deck, you have this card that says "In the Land of the Vanished." And it talks about like ending a cycle once and for all. I feel like that's really important for you in this energy. Like this does feel like a permanent change or transition. And I feel like for you, you know that all things come to an end, right? There's this song by Hosier called All Things End, which has that message, of course, which is like all things come to an end. It shouldn't deter you from starting over, right? Like that's how it's coming through. Even though it's painful or difficult, like it shouldn't deter you from having a new beginning and being happy when that new beginning happens. There is a sort of like mixed energy that's coming through, but like, and I feel like for you, Taurus, like it may be that you're already sort of starting this new beginning. Like it's kind of like, what I'm kind of getting now is that like you've already started it, right? Because you have the worms energy, like you're already at the beginning of this new cycle, it feels like. But there's something here where it's like maybe there has been someone in your life who has been fearful of moving forward. So it's like even though you've already entered this new cycle, it's kind of, again, we're in retrograde season, so there may be something from the past that has been holding on, and it's in this phase now of like starting to move forward. They're starting to take a leap of faith. They're starting to take the steps needed for them to move forward as well. Like, because again, there's this feeling of like in that scene of Lord of the Rings where the group, of course, doesn't want to leave Gandalf, right? There's this feeling of like they feel lost without him. And so there's something like that for you where I feel like there's maybe a group or if it's not a group, just a particular person who may be feeling a bit lost without you for a little while, Taurus. But it's like this is part of their journey of growth. This is also part of your journey of growth that I feel like you've already started. This person, I do feel like, is an energy that will be moving away from you in some way. It does feel like that. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be physical. It feels more like, especially if there's been any sort of dependence on you or in terms of like leadership or something like that, they're moving away from you in that way. Maybe they're stepping into their own power or leadership. Yeah, the pilgrim. The pilgrim and the riddle. This is really interesting for their energy. Like pilgrim is this energy of going on a journey, right? Journeying, learning something, some sort of new lesson or cycle for them. The riddle, though, I feel like is something where it's like they don't know yet what that is. And what's interesting about the riddle card is that the more that you try and solve it, the less clear it becomes. I feel like that's true for you as well, Taurus, that like the more you try and help this person, the less clear it will be for them. Thanatos, the death card in this deck. A lot of change and transformation. I don't know that you can help them with this. That's just the message that's coming through. What's the energy for this other? Sea serpent. You don't have to worry about this person. This is the sacral chakra because it's like what the message that's coming through with this is that it will all become clear in the end. Right now it feels like there's a bit of a tangle here with the riddle. Like there's something unclear about it, or there's something that like you don't quite know where they're going. They don't quite know where they're going, but I feel like you don't have to worry. It will all become clear soon. The sea serpent is the sacral chakra. It also talks about expressing desires and being free from suffering, like letting go of pain and emotional suffering. It also talks about like, for me, it talks about like where flow is needed or where there's more resources that are needed, it'll flow into that place. So I feel like I'm seeing things that are like straightening out, right? Like any sort of like, obstacles or holdups in a particular energy is clearing out, or it's being like flushed out is what I'm getting. Like it's becoming smoother and clearer for this person, whoever they are, because they're on this journey of self-discovery is what's coming through with that. Panther at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, I do feel like there's a bit of fear here that is being purged within a connection is what I just heard with that. Is being purged within a connection. So I feel like maybe you're feeling this person's fear as well, or you know what they are fearful about, or you can see that clearly. Sorry, I'm getting this image of this, like, in The Good Place again. You may want to watch that show. I feel like it has something in there for you. Again, I'm going to spoil it. The last season where Kristen Bell's character and her partner, I can't remember his name, where they're in the good place together. They're partners, and they're living their they're living their happily ever after in the good place. But then there comes a point where it's like Chidi, he's the character's name. He decides that it's ready for him to move on. He's ready to move on to the next part of his journey, right? He's ready to leave the good place. And Kristen Bell's character is not. There's that kind of dynamic here for you, Taurus, where it's kind of like, I don't know who's who in this case. In some ways, I feel like you're the one who's sort of ready to move on to something, or you already have, maybe in some way, emotionally or spiritually. It's like you've already moved on. But there was somebody who was kind of holding on to you because of their own fear of what happens if you do leave them, right? Or like you detach in some way or whatever. It's like that kind of energy. I do feel like they are moving to that place where they feel more stable or secure in the midst of this transformation of like letting you go, or vice versa, however that resonates. It's like they are getting to that place where they can step across or take the leap of faith that they've been needing to take. It will, because I feel like that it has something to do with like what it is that they want, or what it is that they're ready for. I am kind of getting that like in the far future, there's the potential for a reunion with this. But I don't know. Like there's just like, I don't know. It feels a bit bittersweet, but I feel like for you, Taurus, like, you know, this is the right thing that for you to do. Can I get a few cards for Taurus, please? Page of Swords. Six of Wands. Interesting. Yeah, triumph is coming through as a big word for you. Succeeding in something. Queen of Wands, which is the Mystic card again. And can I get a few cards for the other? Five of Wands. Yeah, there's... Nine of Pentacles and Four of Cups. I feel like there's something here where it's like Knight of Wands. Like this may be a group with the Five of Wands. Like, and what I'm seeing for you is that like you are moving forward in some way. You're like, I feel like, again, all of you are stepping through this threshold. Like, you're all going through this change. You're all going through this door together. But you are coming out as this. The Queen of Wands, Six of Wands, Eagle. Right? Like, really triumphantly moving through your next cycle. That's how it's coming through. But in the aftermath of this, there's a group or a particular person who maybe feels like... that they have lost direction, or they've lost leadership, or that they're on their own, or they're having to be really independent, or they're not feeling satisfied with what they have, or something like that. And it's like, that's part of their journey. That is part of their journey. You can't help them with this. I feel like the more you do try and help them with this, the more confused they will be. That's how it's coming through. Or the more unsatisfied they will be. With the Four of Cups, the more that, like, it'll create internal conflict within themselves if you are a part of this journey. I don't think that you are meant to be. Because I'm seeing you sort of going off in a different direction. You're not meant to interfere with this, is how it's coming through with the Page of Swords. It's like you can see them at a distance, but you're not meant to be part of whatever this is for them. They need to sort of figure that out by themselves, is how that's coming through. Okay. Interesting message. I'm going to pull one card from the Energy Archaeology Oracle for you, Taurus, just to end off the message. Okay, I got 4 cards. That feels like too many, so I'm just going to put them back. But it's vulnerability, creation, resonance, and grace. Can I get 1 card for Taurus, please? Okay. Wisdom. Wisdom, teeth. Wisdom cannot be proven, but it is felt. Your wisdom has deep roots. It's connected above and below, within and without, in this dimension and many others. It's precious and timeless, and through you, it graces this earth right when it's needed. No matter where it comes from, deep in the earth or worlds beyond, the wisdom you carry is yours to embody. Yeah, I feel like you're being asked to, I feel like you have a lot of wisdom right now. And sometimes the best wisdom is to just let people be. I think that's how it's going through for you today. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. If this reading resonates with you, please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.